Guys, so welcome back to class. As always, we're going to look at our objectives for today and what we're going to be learning. And so at the end of this lesson, you will know the difference in a concrete and an abstract noun and how they're used in poetry. You are going to understand a concrete nouns help readers to imagine abstract concepts such as Josh Bell's identity, and you will be able to write a list poem using concrete and abstract nouns. And you're going to incorporate them into extended metaphor poems using the Assessment 7 template. So in order for us to accomplish all of this today, guys, let's continue with our learning. So the first thing that I want us to start thinking about and what I want us to start asking ourselves is, what is one question you have that you hope will be answered in the second half of the novel? So far we've been reading so many wonderful poems and we've been learning so much about Josh Bell. And so now I want you guys to ask yourselves, in the second half of the novel, what do you hope will be answered? What do you hope you'll find out? Maybe about the characters, about the people and the issues that are happening, events and conflicts that are happening in the novel. You will do this on a discussion board that you will find inside of Schoology. So, once again, our focusing and content questions are the epitome of our entire lesson. And so our focusing question says, what shapes Josh Bell's sense of himself and his world? And our content framing question, which is in our distill stage, is what is the essential meaning of the crossover as it relates to Josh's identity? So let's continue to focus and get started. So, a concrete noun. This is the first thing that we're going to start off with talking about today. When we talk about a concrete noun, these are things that we can experience through our five senses. We can see them and we can hear them, we can taste them, we can smell them, and we can even feel them. So for example, at a circus, what kind of concrete nouns would be there? At a fast food restaurant, what kind of concrete nouns would be there? What about in a backpack or in a waiting room? In writing, we use active, precise verbs and concrete nouns as a tool of descriptive and sensory language. So, if I wanted to tell you what a concrete noun is of something that I would see at a circus, I might say an elephant. I can see an elephant. You can hear an elephant when it does its snout or when it does its nose and it makes that big old sound. And you can sometimes smell an elephant too, because sometimes, in my opinion, they can be a little bit stinky. And if you're at a zoo or even at a circus, they might allow you to touch the elephant, so you can also feel it. So an elephant would be a concrete noun. At a fast food restaurant, a burger would be a concrete noun because you can see a burger and you can taste the burger and you can even smell the burger when they're putting the onions on the grill and slapping the lettuce, tomatoes, and pickles, and then they put the hot burger on the sesame seed bun. You can smell this, you can taste it, and you can see it. So a burger would be an example of a concrete noun. And these are used as tools to effectively write and create descriptive and sensory language. So let's continue to move on. So let's continue to generate some examples of concrete nouns. What is something you could possibly see, taste, feel, or touch in a backpack? Or what could you see, smell, taste, touch inside of a waiting room, maybe when you're going to the doctor's office? What are some of the things that you would see? I want you to generate as many concrete nouns as you could with these places. Continue thinking about the circus and the fast food restaurant and in a backpack and in a waiting room. And I want you to share these out in the discussion board. As you guys are sharing out these concrete nouns, you're going to develop this massive list of concrete nouns that we'll be using later on in the lesson. But I also want us to think about how these words that we're going to generate, these concrete nouns, they help readers imagine abstract concepts. What's an abstract concept? Well, let's continue to move forward so we can find out. But before we talk about what an abstract concept is, I want us to look at our craft question, because today this is what we're going to be working on. How do I use descriptive and sensory language to compose a poem? How do I use both descriptive and sensory language to compose a poem? Well, let's see. So remember, we talked about concrete nouns, and we talked about how a concrete noun helps a reader to imagine an abstract concept. So let's talk about an abstract concept. What is an abstract concept? Well, an abstract concept are general ideas, and often very important ones, that are not concrete. We can't see them, we can't hear them, we can't smell them, or taste them, or feel them. So for example, love. Love is an abstract concept. Can you touch love? No. Can you see love? Can you hear love? Can you touch or smell it? No, but we know that it's there. What about teamwork, confidence, or jealousy? Can you smell or taste or feel teamwork, confidence, and jealousy? No. That's because these are abstract concepts. They're very important, but we can't see, hear, smell, taste, or feel them. So these are abstract concepts. So let's look at our novel. So we've been reading The Crossover, and we've been talking a lot about Josh Bell's identity. Josh Bell's identity is an abstract idea. We can't see, touch, smell, taste, or hear Josh's identity, but we know that Josh has an identity. So now I want you guys to share out some examples of abstract ideas in the discussion board. They don't have to be in relation to the book. They can just be ideas that are around us. What is an abstract idea? Share some examples in the discussion board. Now, if we've all communicated in our discussion boards, we should have tons of concrete nouns, and we should have tons of abstract nouns, which is what we just spoke about. So now I want us to choose a concrete noun, and please go back into the video if we need a refresher on what a concrete noun is. I want us to choose a concrete noun that's going to help us compose a list poem. So we're going to use this noun as the basis of our simile and our extended metaphor to compare to Josh Bell's identity. So you're going to compose a list poem that uses descriptive and sensory language to appeal to their reader's senses. Your poem should be formatted and written using Assessment 7 Focusing Question Task 1 handout. So, as an example, the concrete noun that I'm going to choose is an orange. I'm choosing the concrete noun of an orange. There's so many concrete nouns that we can use, guys, like water bottle or lip gloss. All of these things are something that I can taste. I can taste water bottle. I can see lip gloss. So these are concrete nouns. And with an orange, I can see an orange. I can taste an orange. You can smell an orange when you peel it back and all of the citrus comes out. These are some of the things that I'm thinking about when I've chosen my concrete noun. So, an example from my list poem, and you're going to take orange or whatever word that you choose, and you're going to compare it to Josh Bell. So I'm going to write for my list poem, 4 reasons Josh Bell is like an orange. Yours might say 4 reasons Josh Bell is like a cookie, or 4 reasons why Josh Bell is like a pizza. Whatever concrete noun that you choose, you will insert here. So this is my poem. 4 reasons Josh Bell is like an orange. Because he glows brightly in a neon color. This is my first line that I would use for my first list. Notice there's a number 4 here, and next would be 3, 2, and 1. The reason why I said that Josh Bell is like an orange is because I wanted to convey the message that Josh is bold and he stands out from the crowd. If I was standing holding an orange, it would be super bright and people would be able to see it. It would be such a bright color that people would be able to see it from far away. So that's why I chose to compare Josh to an orange, because he's bold and he stands out just like an orange. He acts and talks in a colorful way. And we see this in some of the poems when he says slamorific, or in Josh's play-by-play on page 67 and 68, he is the center of attention and all eyes are on him. So if I go to page 67 and I look at some of the words that he used, like the first is up, and clink. So he has a bold way of talking, and he acts bold. He also thinks that he's the center of attention. He always thinks, even at the beginning, defending county champions are in the house tonight. They brought their whole school. This place is oozing crimson. They're beating us 29-28 with less than a minute to go. I'm at the free throw line, and all I have to do is make both shots to take the lead. He races down court for an easy lay. And then he talks about everything that's going on. And then at the end of it, he says, jam in your mug. Who's the man? So he thinks that he is the center of attention and that all eyes are on him. So, this is why I chose to compare Josh Bell to an orange. Four reasons Josh Bell is like an orange, and this is continuing my example, because he glows brightly in neon color, because he's been plucked differently from the family tree, because nothing rhymes with him, but most of all, because underneath that tough skin is tender flesh. So let's break this down. We already talked about why I compared him to an orange, because of his neon color, him being bold and standing out. But why did I say because he's been plucked directly from the family tree? Well, Josh takes after his dad, and he has a strong sense of family. And Sundays after church on page 50, Josh, his dad, and his brother all play basketball together, and playing together shows their connection. Oranges grow and are plucked from trees. They're all together like a family tree. Then I said because nothing rhymes with him. And the reason why I said that nothing rhymes with him is because Josh sees himself as one of a kind. This attitude is most obvious in pages 4 through 5. He feels no comparisons can be made because no one is like him, just like an orange. There are other words that can't rhyme, but you can't rhyme a word with orange. It's one of a kind. Just like Josh believes that he's one of a kind. The word orange is one of a kind because you can't rhyme a word with it. And then, because underneath that tough skin is tender flesh, Josh acts tough, but he's actually sensitive. And Josh pays attention to what his parents are talking about and considers what their conversations mean. Like in the poem Hypertension on page 76, Josh wonders and worries about his father's health. And this shows he has a soft side, just like the inside layer of an orange. So, if you need to look at this as an example to compose your poem, and when you think about which abstract or concrete noun you're going to choose, please use this as a template as to the reasoning behind why I picked the word orange. Oranges are bright, just like Josh. Oranges are plucked from the family tree, and Josh is close to his family tree. Oranges can't be rhymed with. The word orange cannot be rhymed with, which means Josh is one of a kind himself. And when you peel an orange, inside the orange, it's soft, just like Josh. He acts tough, but he's actually very sensitive. So, after you guys compose your poem, I want you to answer this one question. What was one area of success and one area of challenge in your writing when you composed your list poem? What was one thing that was successful for you? And what was one thing that was a challenge? So, after you guys have composed your list poem, I want you guys to read 135 through 169 of the third quarter section of the crossover and continue your fluency worksheet, reading those poems for appropriate pace and tone and expression, pausing where you're supposed to, and reading words aloud if they're all capitalized, reading them properly. Pages 135 through 169. All right, let's look at our vocabulary deep dive for today. Today, we are going to draft and evaluate hyperboles to enhance poetry. So, on page 133 through 134, I want you to reread the first stanza. Do you see a hyperbole? Find the hyperbole. And then ask yourself, what is the impact of this hyperbole, especially in the first lines of the poem? What does this hyperbole do? What does it add to the writing? What does it tell the reader? Remember, hyperboles are exaggerations. An author used them to emphasize certain ideas in their writing. So let's look. Could you add a hyperbole to your list poem? How is it a hyperbole, and how does it enhance your poem? Answer this in our discussion board. All right, so this is going to conclude today's lesson. Once again, guys, if you need any help, I'm always in my office hours, available to help walk you through some of these lessons if you're feeling a little behind. I have a morning office hour and an afternoon office hour. Please come if you need any help or any special attention to the assignments. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.